87.6% of all the people on the planet are unhappy. Why are they unhappy? Because they don't have what they perceive as what they deserve. But it's not what you deserve in life, it's what you earn in life. I came from a background. My dad beat me, I got in a lot of trouble. I found a way to turn it around. The kids, the millennials, give up too easily. You have to want it more than the air that you breathe.
I said, you can do it if you want it bad enough. The operative part of that is if you want it bad enough. And virtually everybody that's ever come to the seminars never wanted it as much as I did. Nobody was as hungry.
How many of you can say that you're serious about it? How many of you can actually say that you're trying to be all you can be? Now, I won't insult you by asking you to raise your hand because you'll just lie. We all know what the real answer is, don't we? You're not. And so, if you want to be all that you can be, and if you want to be a high-performance person, I did know Steve Jobs. I do know Elon Musk. I do know Warren Buffett. I do know, and they're all ball busters. Success leaves clues, kids. And they all have one thing in common. They're ball busters. They're hard as nails. What kind of sacrifices are you willing to be super successful? 60 hours a week. Nobody is willing to work 60 hours a week to be successful. Nobody is willing to miss a holiday. If you booked a holiday and something important happened in business, would you tell your family to go on the holiday without you and you're not going to go? Nobody said yes. The high performance people, the one thing that they all have in common is they're hungry. Hungry for a better life. Hungry for change. Hungry for the tough love their parents didn't give them.
So is that what it needs? You have to be hungry. You need to feel the pain.
Growth only comes through pain. No pain, no gain. Because you're not willing to make any sacrifices to be high performance. I still work 50, 60 hours a week. And I haven't had to work in 35 years.
So let's dive into your story a bit more. Tell us about East LA.
When I was there as an adolescent, it was almost all Mexican. And my father was a policeman, my mom was a housewife. My mother came to the United States. She crossed the Rio Grande River in 1924 as an illegal alien with her mother. And we lived almost right where downtown Los Angeles is. And my dad was a cop, and so it was easy for him to get to work. And so I got in a lot of trouble, done some awful things when I was a little kid especially. Finally, they threw me out of the school district. So we had to move to another school district, and my mother thought that I would be better there because she thought it was the environment. She didn't understand it was me. So then when we moved to the Valley, which is called the San Fernando Valley, which has become infamous now, and so I went there and I got in a lot of trouble. I was arrested 5 times. Finally, I volunteered for the draft in 1966, more or less at the height of the Vietnam War. And the Army made a man out of me. I became an officer, and the rest is really history. And it was the first high performance thing I ever did. I didn't understand, other than I had a father who would look like a superhero, alpha male role model. Other than that, he was my benchmark. He was very athletic. He was an all-American athlete in high school, and I could barely chew gum and walk at the same time. I was very uncoordinated. So my aggression I took out on other people. I fought. I could get in fights real well. I've always been a big kid, and so but I went off into the Army. The first high performance thing I did was become an officer, and I got out of the military quite by accident. I was going to stay in the military because it was perfect for me. It was almost impossible for me to get in trouble. And they gave you crazy things to do, which I enjoyed. And then one day, I got a special award. One day I'm sitting in the officers club and a 2-star general said, "Danny, why don't you buy the drinks for all of us?" And I said, I bought the drink, so you don't ask a two-star general why. And then he said, the magic words that changed my life. Danny, a young man like you could get rich in the civilian world. And I swear to you, a light bulb went off over my head. I never thought of Rich, Danny Pena in the same sentence. And I applied to get out of the Army, so I went from a regular Army officer to out, and I went back to school. A 4-year education in 2.5 years, and I almost got straight A's because it was easy. It was easy for me. I didn't realize how bright I really was until I got in the military. Because in grammar school in East LA, they used to stand me in a corner with a dunce cap. And if I was bad, they put me in a corner, then they put me in a closet. And they keep me in the closet until my mother or my grandmother came to pick me up. But my father told me, sticks and stones can break your bones, Dan, but words can never hurt you. The first thing I did is I looked for anomalies in the federal bidding process for federal products. I saw there was the refineries across the United States were only 60% being used, and yet there was a jet fuel shortage with the U.S. Air Force. So I put two and two together, I connected the dots, and I bid on federal contracts. And the first year in business, I did $50,540,000 in business with one employee, me. And then when I had that money, I went out and I sought oil and gas partners, drilling for oil and gas. And so I continued to build. Well, I bought an option on oil and gas properties for $60,000, and I turned it into $160 million in 99 days. From there, I was overnight success. And so I took it public and I grew the company, up to about 500 million, then the shareholders threw me out. They threw me out with a lot of money. So I didn't cry, don't feel sorry for me. I decided I wanted to do something else because I already was ostensibly pretty rich. And I tried to teach university for a year. I found that very unfulfilling. The system that was devised 70 years ago after World War II, you go to work with a company, you work 30, 40, 45 years, you get a pension, and you can live in a picket house with 2.4 dogs, 6.4 grandchildren, and hopefully your original wife. Well, that model is dead. That is impossible anymore. And on top of it, you have $150,000 to $250,000 in debt for going to school. And some kids will be 45 years old and still be paying off student debt. Well, that's a load of crap. Down deep in your soul, you know there is no get-rich-quick scheme that's legal. So for a millennial, it sounds trite, something they believe in. If you change 1 billion lives, you'll get wealthy. What do you believe in enough to quit your job to try to change 1 billion lives? Most of the kids just want to know if they get paid twice a month.
They've got to do something and list it, what they did to scare themselves every single day.
Is that the essence of really what you do, is getting people to take more risk, to get out of their comfort zones, and then the wealth comes later?
It's not just out of their comfort zones. It's to change your reality. Okay, your reality is different than my reality. And, your followers' realities are all different. But it's to change your reality. And to make yourself accountable. That's not just getting outside your comfort zone, making yourself accountable. Okay? Not just not accountable to somebody else, accountable to you, me, yourself. Because that's the ultimately, that's the only person you should be accountable to, is yourself. And we grow up, in my judgment, wrongly, that we don't hold ourselves accountable enough. We just don't. We've learned to come up with reasons why we can't do this, reasons why it's okay not to do this, reasons why you didn't follow up on time, reasons why I told the guy I'd get back to him by Wednesday, it's now Friday. Oh, it's the weekend. I'll now get back to him on Monday. And life has gotten simpler. Now, with the internet and with email and the things where the communication is almost instant, you'd think it should be easier. But it's not. I use the analogy, 25, 30 years ago, you go in to buy a $100 million company, your due diligence would be 3, 4, 5 weeks, and it'd take you 3, 4, 5 weeks to close the deal. Okay, a month and a half, 6 to 8 weeks. With the internet, it should take less time because the information is instantaneous. It takes us twice as long to close a deal now. Twice as long. There's no reason for that. Things haven't gotten twice as complicated, but somebody has to put their name on the line. Somebody wants to push off the accountability. Somebody would rather have Brian sign off on it, so I go home early on a Thursday knowing you're going to come in early on a Monday and your signature will be on the document instead of mine, because I don't want to be accountable.